So if you're ever absent, you can always check online for this. It just typically won't be up until after our class is over. So I apologize. With having first hour virtual students is tough because I record our lesson, I'll upload it around halfway through and then upload it again at the end. So I have like 2 videos here typically. The videos will be a little bit delayed from normal class hours. So sorry, people online, I started a little late on here for you guys. So if we do it this way, we cancel the 4's, and then we can get rid of this 3. So we're going to divide each side by 3. So I end up with a negative 16. Now, if you guys did it with just dividing by 3/4 or multiplying by 4/3 right away, either of those ways work as well. So just kind of a warm up to get us used to solving equations. We're using this a lot today. All right, so the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is other words for add, subtract, multiply, and divide. So some of our questions today are going to talk about, rather than saying 5 minus x, they're going to say something different. They're going to use kind of fancier math words. Does anyone know some of those fancier math words for some of these? Other words for add, subtract, multiply, or divide. What do you guys have? So when I mean an easy one for add would be plus. Stealing one from you guys. But thinking about a word problem or something where we can use other words, think about other words we might use for some of these. Anyone have any for us? Justine, which one do you have for addition? Sum. That's the really fancy word that mathematicians probably used, is the word sum. S-U-M, rather than S-O-M-E. So the word sum means to add 2 things together and get their answer, or add multiple things together and get the answer. What other words do you guys know? Do you guys know any other fancy words or not fancy words? What's it? Minus, yeah, for subtraction, yep. What else do you guys know? Any other words for any of these? You have one for us? Times, yep. Yeah, so some of these I'm not looking for super fancy. What do you guys think? Yeah. Yeah, that's the one, that's kind of our bonus word here. So the word difference. So if I said the difference in our ages, we take our 2 ages and subtract them. That'd be the difference between them. So that's how much different they are. So difference is definitely one that makes sense and then kind of used in other ways. Anyone know the fancy words for multiply or divide? Justine's got them all, yeah.
For multiply and divide.
It's product, yeah. What if I said I'm increasing something by 5? How would you use that mathematically? Yeah. What's that? Yeah, so adding 5. So if I said increase, then obviously decrease would be subtraction. The one for division is quotient. You won't hear me using these words very often, but our book likes to use them. So I thought I'd mention them. There's going to be a few prompts today in our book work when we're talking about these types of problems. Okay. All right, so we're going to talk about solving and graphing these one-step inequalities today. So I mentioned it before, those inequalities are like the little Pac-Man mouths. Before we get to that, I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about Tuesday's lesson, which is tomorrow. So tomorrow here at Random, we are giving the ACT to juniors. So every junior has to take this huge ACT test. It's like the big national test that all juniors have to take. So that's tomorrow during school. That means you guys have a virtual day. So if you're not a junior, you have a virtual day tomorrow. That's just the high school. So if you have younger siblings, don't get them confused. Like, they're all coming like normal. But you guys, we just don't want you guys in the building tomorrow. The test is a really big, important test for juniors. It's important for our school, so we have to make sure the building's quiet. So we're taking it here tomorrow. Now, teachers have the option to allow you guys to have like a virtual lesson. I am not choosing that. I have to give the ACT tomorrow, so I'm not able to be on my computer at all, so I'm not able to answer questions or be in contact. So if you have anything for me tomorrow, I'm kind of out of contact until like the end of the day. So I am not giving a virtual lesson. Now other teachers might be. Some teachers don't have to give the ACT, so they might be requiring that you do something online, but that is not the case for first hour tomorrow. So tomorrow is the ACT day. Juniors have to report. Freshmen, sophomores, and seniors, you guys have the virtual day. And that's tomorrow. And then just a heads up that Friday, you guys also have a normal virtual day. So that means if you're behind on work, you might have to report. Now, by that point, we'll only have 2 assignments. So if you can get those 2 assignments done, you will not have to report Friday for me. So this is probably like the best chance of getting a Friday off without having to report at all. We'll get an assignment tonight, which will be due Wednesday, so you have 2 days to do that. And then we'll get an assignment Wednesday for Thursday. Those are the only 2 assignments that will count against the virtual day, unless you need help with something. Like I'm not like not willing to meet with you. I just don't think I should, I don't think anyone will need to be required. Does that make sense? So kind of a nice, easy week going into spring break for you guys. Sophomores have forward testing on Thursday. I don't remember if I have any sophomores in here, but that does not impact you guys. So that's unless you're a sophomore. So and that's only during second block. All right, questions at all about this week? Yeah.
So you're essentially saying you just have a 3-day week?
What's it? Yeah, you really just have a 3 with a weird day off in the middle. Except if teachers require you to do something tomorrow. So I just want to say that and teachers aren't being mean if they're making you guys do something. Some teachers they're behind in their classes with all of our virtual days and stuff like that, and they just have to get you guys ahead, or we're starting a new chapter, so to give you something online seems a little bit cruel. And like I said, I'm not available to offer help tomorrow because I'm giving the ACT in this classroom, so I can't help you, so I feel like giving you a lesson doesn't seem fair. So I am not giving you guys one, so I won't see you guys again until Wednesday. Okay? So those of you guys online, same thing. So there's not going to be anything listed for tomorrow. I'll write that in Schoology, so if your parents don't believe you tomorrow, they're log on and show me. I'll say off day. This assignment will be due for Wednesday. I think I have it right now due tomorrow, but I'll fix it so it says it's due Wednesday instead. Okay? All right. So moving ahead here, talking about inequalities. Now, if you get a little creative, these look like little happy and sad faces here. If you turn your head sideways. But you driving her crazy? Well, are you sure you're not driving her crazy? It's really annoying when someone kicks at your chair. It's be good. So, inequalities. So, the idea with inequalities is, and the way I was taught, way back when I was you've probably seen these in elementary school, was the fish or whatever it happens to be wants to eat the bigger amount. So, if I have 5 is greater than 3, it's because it wants to eat the 5 because that's bigger. So it wants the more amount. So this one means greater than. So what do you think about that other one? It's going to be then.
Lesser than?
Less than? Yep. So in this case, I guess I should have 3 is less than 5. So if I read that as a statement, that makes sense. 3 is less than 5, that's true. I would want to eat, you know, like if we're trying to eat the bigger amount, we want to eat the 5. Like I said, when I learned this, Pac-Man was really popular. So like, this little guy, he'd eat that. All right. Now, what do these look like, or what's going on here? What do you guys know what those mean? What are they adding on to that? Yeah. Yes, they're adding on equal to, which is kind of a weird thing. So, or equal to. So, this one's going to be greater than or equal to. Now, this is a hard concept to get until you start thinking about a real life scenario. And this actually is a great one to talk about with that. Because a lot of you guys either are really close to or thinking about getting your driver's license. So how old do you need to be to get your driver's license? Yep, 16. So your age either has to be greater than or equal to 16, right? So you could be a day older than 16. You could be 17 years old when you get your driver's license. You could be, you know, Mr. Donahue's grandma got her driver's license when she was like 60. Like she had never gotten her driver's license, and when she was grandma, she said, "I want my driver's license now." So she got her driver's license when she was like a grandma, so which is super cute. So like you can still get your driver's license even if you're older than 16. So the age, I'm going to call that A, is greater than or equal to 16. So you could be 16, you could turn 16 that day. I actually got my driver's license on my 16th birthday. And you can get it that day or any day after that. So greater than or equal to. So that or equal to doesn't seem super important, but it's a pretty big deal that I could get my driver's license on my birthday. And then the other one obviously is going to be less than or equal to. And you might have seen this before, like when you're like little siblings or someplace, and like it says like kids 5 and under get in for free. And that seems like a good ploy because you can't have a 6-year-old lie about his age. I mean, you can, but most 6-year-olds are really excited about being 6, so they're not going to say, "Yeah, I'm 5." So if your age is less than or equal to 5, you get in free. Or if you're this tall or under, you can play in the little guy playground versus, you know, the big one or whatever. But obviously the free thing is kind of a big deal when somebody can get in for free. So I'm going to talk about how to show these on a number line. And you might have, I mean, this is kind of a preference thing maybe with different teachers. I just want to make sure you guys know how I like to see them, just so you guys can show me pretty clearly like what you're trying to get at. When we talk about this, if I'm talking about something being greater than a number, so you're over whatever age or height or whatever it happens to be greater than, we want to be able to show that on a number line. What answers are possible? When we show that on a number line, for these two, we're going to use open circles. The reason we're going to use open circles there is because that number is not part of the answer. So that number doesn't work. And then greater than or equal to, I'm going to make a circle, but then I'm going to color it in. So it's going to be colored in circle. our driver's license inequality. So what the number line is going to show is it's going to show what ages you can get your driver's license. Miss Miller, what time was the first one? Did we say the first video would be on there by 8:30? Okay, I just wanted to kind of give myself.
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you. So on my number line, now we're starting with 16, or 16 is the value we're working with. The arrows show it can go either way. So I don't need to start at like 0 and count all the way up to 16. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick 16 on my number line. And then pick some numbers bigger and smaller than 16. One of the huge mistakes I see that students make with these number lines is they don't go smallest to largest. So on a number line, this should be smaller, this should be bigger. And that might sound silly, but I almost always have students get that confused and like flip that around or something or think it doesn't matter, but it does. So small is to the left, bigger is to the right. So in terms of the age of being able to drive, 16 works as an answer. So we're going to color in a dot at 16. Now you can write it right on here. I usually do this and then just kind of shade that in. But we want to go greater than 16. So which way are we going to draw an arrow? Which way is bigger? We're going to the right. So I'm going to kind of just go above the number line so you can clearly see where I'm headed. So anything bigger, so Mr. Donahue's grandma over here at like 60, down the number line, she got her driver's license, that was still okay. Whereas nobody on this end can get their driver's license. So the number line shows where all the answers are. So if I say, can you get your driver's license at 40? Yep, it's down this way. You know, any age this direction. Now you might argue there might be a cutoff, because you've all seen like the, you know, like there's maybe some older people that maybe shouldn't be driving anymore, but there's no like, there's not really an age cutoff. They don't just cut you off because you're 100 or whatever. So, but anything that direction works. Now, I'm going to show you guys this next one. This next one's a little bit tricky. First of all, because it's negative, and because it's flipped. So the inequality isn't written the same way. So we're going to talk about that in a second. But when I go to put that on my number line, I'm going to put a -4. But then I have to think about what's bigger and smaller than -4. So what's bigger? What's going this way from -4? And I suggest it you think about like temperatures, like in terms of really cold weather. Yep. Which one? -3. Yep. So going bigger is actually the negative numbers look like they're getting smaller because 0 would be like over here. Oh, I skipped one. I can count. I swear. Monday morning's been rough for me apparently here. And you'd think it was okay. I like got up early and I took the dog for a walk, but I don't know. All right. So number line has to go in order. It has to go from smallest to largest. Now this time we're going to have an open circle at -4. Because whoops, I'm going to draw it right on the number line. Because -4 doesn't actually work. The equal to line isn't there. But now figuring out which way to draw this inequality is kind of confusing. It's saying -4 is greater than x. But I want to graph what x is. So what does that mean about x compared to -4? It's smaller. So that means x is smaller than -4. So I want to flip this. I can switch it, but the inequality is still opening to the -4. So I rewrote it this way, and I think it's a little bit easier to understand when the x is on the left side. So it's saying x is less than So I have to think about it this way instead. What is x compared to -4? So it's less than, so I'm going to go smaller than -4. So smaller is this direction. So I'm going to go less, I went up. Yikes. So smaller, we're going to go that way. All right. graphing. So if you guys could grab whiteboards, marker, eraser, probably should have dismissed you random, but that's okay. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, so we're gonna do a few problems on the whiteboards. And then I was thinking, just because it's supposed to be so rainy this week, we can maybe take that walk afterwards if you guys would like. So, just because it's supposed to, I think it's supposed to be rainy this week anyway. It's warm enough, right, to go outside? Yeah, I was out early this morning, and my hair was still wet, and I was fine on my walk. So, I have a puppy. Well, she's a year now, but we saw this weird little it was like a bear, like a black bear statue in somebody's front yard, and she saw it and she started growling at it, and then she wanted to pounce with it, she had her paws down in front and wanted to play with the. I'm like, that's a statue, Dumbo. Just keep moving along. She's not super bright, but she's cute. So, all right. So I want you guys to graph an inequality. So on your board, you guys are gonna graph your inequality. So, if I have m is greater than 7, so m is greater than 7. So put that on your number line for me. M is greater than 7. And then remember you need a dot. So either open or close if you decide. So don't forget you need a circle, at that spot. You need some numbers on your number line. You're good. You don't need a ton of numbers. Even if you just have 3 numbers in your number line, that's fine. Yeah, you're good. You got it. A couple of quick things. So it's okay. So you don't need to put the variable on there, and then you always go from smallest to largest. No, it's okay. That's why we're you're so close. Just have to go smallest to largest. So the smaller number should go here. Yeah. So one thing is, you don't have to flip it. M on the left side, I leave it there. So M is greater than 7, so you want to move it. Yep. So you don't need a ton of values. Just 3 values are perfectly fine. So 6, 7, 8, it's got to go from smallest to largest. Once you're there, then this is an open circle. So it doesn't have the equal to line. And then we're going to go, m is greater than 7 is the way we eat it, or read that because he wants to eat the bigger value. So it's going bigger. So we're going to go bigger than that. You have to think about the values that would work. So 8 is bigger than 7, so that works okay. All right? So G is less than or equal to 8. in, because it has the equal to. You're good. You're good. So since it has the equal to, we want to fill in this. So put that on your